Next on our speakers list is Senator Grant Mitchell, who is here on behalf of his colleague Christy Duncan. Grant Mitchell is currently the Vice Chair of the Senate Environment and Energy Committee, and he's leader of the Alberta's official opposition from 94 to 98 in Alberta Liberal Party. And he campaigned in support of Kyoto in Alberta in 1997, a very bold move, I must say. He was served as a member of Parliament in the Alberta Legislative Assembly for the riding of Edmonton-McClung, and served his constituents with dedication and diligence from 1986 to 1998, and served as House Leader from 93 to 94. In 1988 and 89, Senator Mitchell taught graduate-level courses in the field of business government relations as a sessional lecturer in the Faculty of Management at the University of Calgary and the Faculty of Business at the University of Alberta. He has had experience in business as an executive with Principal Group Limited from 79 to 86, and as an investment advisor with CIBC Wood Gundy from 1998 to 2008. So Senator Grant Mitchell brings quite a bit of business and investment background to this, as well as having served as a public servant. So I do believe you've seen quite a few angles for this. Thank you very much, Senator Mitchell.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Celeste. And it must in some senses, be a question on your mind. Here I am, a Liberal from Alberta. What the heck am I doing here? But I feel, sorry?
Join the rest of the endangered species.
Yeah, but you know, that's a very powerful point, and I maybe can just address that very brief. So much to say in so little time, and I know that we're here to listen to you and get your ideas and so on. I just want to say a couple of things. First of all, I'm very, very grateful to have been invited. The work of Sierra Club is renowned. I admire it. I admire the kind of things that people like you are doing and the fights that you fought for so long, and keep doing it, don't give up. I will say, interestingly enough, that Alberta may not be exactly what you think it is. In 1997, as Celeste said, as leader of the Liberal Party in Alberta, where my personal numbers, as is the case with leaders of the Liberal Party in Alberta, were about maybe 17 on a good day, and on a bad day we're like 4. And Mr. Klein, who was at the peak of his popularity at 88%, and people, columnists, one of them here, Don Martin, writing that we wouldn't win a single seat. In fact, we campaigned on Kyoto, absolutely adamantly up front, drove that hard, and we threw in gay rights and women's rights, among other things, and we got 33% of the vote in Alberta. We got as much a percentage of the vote as Mr. Layton got, rest his soul, but the fact of the matter is that we did. And we also got more seats than the Wild Rose got. I got 18 seats at that time. I did. We did. Great people fighting hard. So there is an element, a profoundly strong element in Alberta, even, if I can put it that way, that believes in what you believe in and knows that we have to do what's being talked about tonight and elsewhere across this country and in Alberta and in that parliament, both houses of the parliament, the House of Commons and the Senate. There's lots of people in there fighting this fight as well. Just a couple of things. I'm not going to be too technical. I will say that my introduction to this bill occurred before the bill occurred, and that was over the issue of charities and the assault, the attack, the undermining, the really disgusting. It is deplorable what they are doing, and in fact, perhaps even more deplorable why they are doing it. Quickly, the arguments, because they unfurled those basically officially in the Senate. Senator Nikki Eaton, a Conservative, moved that infamous motion where she began to attack charities. Ironically, Nikki Eaton was on the board of 2, and I won't mention them, I don't want to draw them into this, but 2 national charitable type operations that received grants in 2008 from Tides Canada, which is the whipping person, if I can put it that way, of this government when it attacks environmental NGOs. Their first argument was you can't have international foundations financing at taxpayers' expense Canadian political attacks in Canada. Well, of course, international foundations don't pay taxes internationally, and they don't pay taxes in Canada. So if they give us money, there's no tax write-off. There is no expense to Canadian taxpayers because of that. Of course, the Fraser Institute gets lots of money from international tax foundations. We can go on. That's different. So they morphed from that to, well, no charitable money, no organization that's supported by charitable donations and therefore taxpayers' money should really be able to participate in partisan activities. But it's not partisan activities that they participate in. They participate in political public policy debate, and there is nothing wrong with that. Last night, more than nothing. So last night we had Joe Oliver and Kent and Ashfield before us, and I raised the question of why would you, in your context, in your view of the world, why would you want to attack international environmental groups when you're trying to build social license so you can get the Keystone in the States? Do you think those people aren't going to use that against you to get what you want? We may not want that, but the fact of the matter is it makes no sense even in the logic of their view of the world, one would think. And his answer was, well, those organizations and environmental organizations are against our development projects. And I say to Joe Oliver, so what? I mean, so what? So if 65% of Canadians voted against you, so does that mean that they don't have a say in this democracy either? There is no basis for that. So ultimately, they morphed to another argument, which is, well, we have to find out who's giving what to whom. And I say, great. Go to Pembina, go to Sierra. They probably tell you exactly who they're getting and what they're getting. Go to the Fraser Institute, and they'll tell you that 9% of their donations come from international contributors. They don't tell you who they are, and they don't tell maybe 99% of the money they get comes from international contributors, but they only mention 9% of the international contributions, but only 9% of the contributors themselves. So it's so disingenuous. So I could go on. Why are they doing this? Why are they risking to look like they're Neanderthals when it comes to democratic debate? One, because they've run out of the leverage of the social conservative issues, and they can't use those anymore, well, they're still trying, to actually inflame their base to give them money. And two, and gun control, it's gone. So how are they going to inflame their base? They're going to pick on environmental NGOs. That's how they're going to do it, and you can bet they're raising money on it. They do politics all the time, always. And secondly, they need to distract from the real issues, and that's what they're doing. In fact, when I raised that Keystone thing last night, I almost said to myself, why did I do this? Because now Oliver gets to tee off on the NGOs, and we forget the real issue. Finally, and I'll close on this, is that at a general level, at the 35,000 feet, there's one fundamental overriding irony in this budget, and it's a deep, deep irony. And that is that this government says this is a business development, economic development, job development budget. That is absolute nonsense because it denies, it diminishes, it excludes, it absolutely avoids anything to do with climate change. And if you want to kill an economy, you just keep doing what we're doing when it comes to climate change. If you want to really fundamentally kill an economy, you just keep doing that because that's what's going to happen. So if you want to build an economy, so on the one hand, there's infinite risk in climate change, infinite economic risk, infinite jobs risk, infinite human risk in climate change. You want to keep going down that route, you can destroy the economy, and already we are. The fisheries and the forests, and how many jobs have been lost there? And who's adding that up? So let's go the next step, though. On the other side, there's this tremendous possibility of a renewal, of a renaissance, an economy of the 21st century where intelligence and science and technology and all those things that can create an unbelievable quality of life and leadership in the world are being lost because this government can't see the possibilities. They have no imagination about anything beyond what they see directly in front of their nose and obscured by their ideology. So I'm going to stop because I've been going on a long time. But I say this. Last night I got this overwhelming impression again, and that is that this government, while it's shutting down everything to do with the economy and all the things that we've referred to here, it keeps proclaiming its belief in its support for the environment. And it's arguing that black is white. It's arguing that in is out and up is down. That's what it does. And I was reminded again by that Monty Python skit. Have you heard that? Have you seen the skit with the parrot? Yeah. So he walks in with the dead parrot, this client, and he says to the customer service rep, "This parrot is dead." And the customer service rep says, "No, it's not. It's sleeping. This parrot is dead." "No, it's not. It's sleeping." And every time Mr. Kent opens his mouth on the environment or Oliver opens his mouth, he is saying, this parrot is not dead. It is sleeping. But everybody in this room and people across this country and even Alberta know fundamentally that when it comes to managing this environment and creating something that's special and important and preserving that for the future, that this parrot is in fact dead when it comes to this government, and it is not just sleeping. So keep fighting, keep fighting. There's something there to be won, and it's very, very important.